Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So we're gonna do this cute little foxy fox. So for this guy, I'm gonna go through the color, what this color is. I also used a specialty stitch. Well, it's not difficult, but it is a different sort of a stitch. It's called, I call it the waterfall stitch. I don't know if you're familiar or not, but it just does things almost, it kind of helps the look of blending. And I also used a wire in the tail to keep it up like this. And this is a separate piece made and then sewn to the white part of the head, so there's not going to be any tapestry crochet. The color I used is this color here for the fox. I got my light turned up really bright right now. It is Pumpkin. It's by Loops and Threads. Impeccable. Let me turn my light down a little bit. It's just the fox is so dark. So the color is Pumpkin. I wrote Pumpkin on here because I make cake, so I cut my labels up and then I have to write on some of them. So, but that's the color. This is probably not the accurate color in the camera. It looks a little orangey in the camera because just my camera settings to do videos, but it's more like a terracotta color is what it is. So this is what I'm using for that, and then black and just white, just red heart black that I got from Walmart, you know, the stuff that's a little on the thicker side. And then the same thing that's white that you get from Walmart in the great big balls, it's a little on the thicker side too. So I used, for I think the entire project, let me just check my computer, I'm pretty sure I used a 4mm for everything. Yeah, it looks like I did. I designed him a while ago, so doing my videos. If you follow my Facebook page, you'll know I built this guy like a while ago, and now I'm just getting to the video. So, but you know, the glories of having a channel, having to do 1,000 projects. So a 4mm is what I use. It's a G hook. So let's just stop blabbering and jump right into this. So, this is more the color. I changed my colors for my videos. So it might be a little redder than it is in normal life, but we start with, I'm going to start with the arms, because I'm going to start with black, because the arms are crocheted on. This is built all in one piece, so the arms are crocheted on, the legs are crocheted together. So let's start with black. You're going to make a magic ring of 6 single crochets. So if you struggle with the magic ring, you can just do a chain 2 and then put 6 single crochets in the first stitch. So, but I'll do this in slow motion as well. So that's your magic ring and your chain 1. 6 single crochets inside. So your next round is going to be 2 single crochets in each stitch around. So after your first stitch, you're going to put a stitch marker in there. So this is amigurumi, which means there's no chaining. There's no slip stitch or chaining 1. Or chaining anything. So now your second stitch can go into that same space. And you're going to put 2 single crochets in the same space all the way around. So this will give you 12 stitches when you're done. For the next 10 rounds, I just want you to put 1 single crochet in each of these 12 stitches. So if you don't have a stitch marker yet, or a row counter, why do I keep calling it a stitch marker? A row counter, you can buy these on Amazon, at Walmart, dirt cheap, dirt cheap. So it's a good investment, especially if you do these with watching TV. Anyway, all you have is 12 stitches for 10 rows, and I will see you on the other side. So this is my 10 rows. I haven't stuffed it yet, so I'm going to stuff mine now. We're going to be switching colors, so I actually haven't done my last stitch yet because I use my last stitch to switch colors. So I'll show you that in a second. And then we'll get into this waterfall stitch, so just gonna make sure that I stuff my arms the same size. It's important. I'm gonna take a little bit of stuffing out because I still gotta do this waterfall stitch. So, because I'm making this so far apart from when I made the first ones, my gauge is different. So you should always make something on the same day because my gauge is a lot tighter on this arm that I made a month ago than it is today. So, but you know, that's just what happens. You know, tensions and, you know, everyday life. This is my last stitch. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to pull up a loop. I'm going to finish that stitch with my fox color. So I don't like to, if you've followed my channel for any length of time, you know that I don't like to weave because it leaves a part of your project thicker than the other part, and I really hate that. So I make a double knot. I just cut off my straggler, and then I cut off the black because I no longer need it. So this knot will be on the inside. It never gets felt. It's not, no one's ever going to know it's there. So for this round, we're going to do the waterfall stitch. It's pretty easy peasy. But first, let's put our marker in. So do a single crochet. So we're going to do another single crochet. It's going to be 2 single crochets, then a waterfall stitch. That's going to be your repeat. So that's my 2 single crochets. And your waterfall stitch, you're going to go down to the row below to make the stitch. So just make sure you're under that next stitch, but you're going to go down 1. And then you're going to pull up pretty far, and that's your waterfall stitch. So that's going to be on top of this stitch underneath here. That is in place of. So go over to your next stitch, you're going to do 2 single crochets. And then you're going to see this next stitch, and you're going to drop down 1. Pull way up, and complete the stitch. So there's a stitch under there, so right in this, to this next one, you're going to do your single crochets. And then this is the next stitch, so you're going to drop down 1, pull up, finish the stitch. And then one more time, 2 single crochets. That's your last stitch. You're going to go down 1 row. Oops. You're going to pull up and finish the stitch. So that's what you get. And that's going to kind of show us how, that's going to kind of replicate the blending of the fox fur. So for the next 12 rows, you still have the same amount of stitches, you still have 12. For the next 12, or for the next 10 rows, or 12 rows, I was right. For the next 12 rows, put 1 single crochet in each of your 12 stitches, and I will see you on the other side. So this is what your 12 rows should excuse me, this is what your 12 rows should look like. I was stuffing along the way as well. So we can fasten off. So go into your next stitch, do a slip stitch, fasten off. The only tail that you need for this is just a little sewing tail to sew it to the body of the fox. So it doesn't need to be super duper long. So I'm going to put the pattern up on the screen, and you can go ahead and make your second arm, and then I'll meet you back and we'll get we'll start making the legs. I'll see you on the other side. So this is the leg. It's got a little bit of a foot that we're going to do, but this is the leg. So again, we start with black. Find my middle. We're still using a 4mm, and we're going to make a magic ring of 6 single crochets. Your first round is going to be 2 single crochets in each stitch, so just like we did with the arm. Your marker goes in after the first stitch, not the second. So you'll end up with 12 stitches at the end of this round, because you're just doubling everything. So the arms were 12 stitches, but the legs I think need to be a little bit fatter. It's not even noticeable that it is fatter. And I also want to point out that these legs are long and skinny, but once he's done, they actually look short, but they're not. He does look a little disproportionate because I wanted him to have a large head on a bit of a smaller body. Just cartoonish is what I was going for in that case. So anyway, I digress. Your next round is going to be 1 single crochet and an increase, and this will bring you up to 18 stitches. That's 1 single crochet with your marker. So the next stitch gets the increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. So repeat, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, all the way around. So this is the size of that I wanted the leg to be. Well, the foot, anyway, the foot area. The leg's actually 13 stitches, but anyway, the foot area. So in this round we're going to be doing back loops only, and I know this is black, so it's going to be really hard to see. But your back loops are standing right up, looking at you, so you don't have to turn this over or struggle to get into them. I mean, you might struggle to get into them. I use this finger and just push it on, as opposed to trying to put it on. I just use my finger and push it on, so it's a lot easier. Anyway, this round I just want you to do 1 single crochets in the back loops only. So you should have 18 stitches. And now we can kind of turn the foot around. So, the whole point of this is because this stays flat, and then this comes up to start making the foot part of it. So, we're going to decrease around just what I want the toe to be. So, I want you to do 7 single crochets to start this round. PDF users, we are on round 4 of the leg. That's number 1. You're using the full stitch, by the way. So that's 7 single crochets. And then I want you to decrease 2 times in a row. So I'm going to do invisible decreases because it cuts down on the gapping. And again, this is black. It's going to be hard to see. But I'm doing it in the front loops only. So I'm going to pick up a front loop, and then I'm going to yoink around and pick up the second front loop. Then I'm going to yarn over. Pull through both those loops, and then finish the stitch. So that's 1 decrease. I'm going to do my next decrease. And then 7 single crochets back to your marker. Tuck that in there so it stops being annoying. So we're going to kind of do the same thing in this round. We're going to do 5 single crochets because we've done some decreases, so our numbers are obviously not the same. That's number 1. That's 5 single crochets. And then I want you to do decrease 3 times in a row. So again, I'm going to use the front loops. That's my first decrease. Decrease number 2. Decrease number 3, and then you should have 5 single crochets back to your marker. There. So, this is the shape of your foot. Should look like mine. I know mine's probably hard to see. I used the green background hoping that it would be easy to see, but... So for the next, you should have 13 stitches. So for the next 8 rows, I just want you to put 1 single crochet in each of these 13 stitches. Stuff as you go, and then we'll change to the fox color. Oh, and I just want to tell you that when you stuff this, so when you stuff the foot, stuff it by making sure this bottom stays flat. That's too much stuffing. Because that's... You're not going to get it perfectly flat, but when you stuff it, make sure this doesn't boing out. It has to stay flat. So I am done my 8 rows. I'm just stuffing my leg, my black part anyway. We're going to switch colors, so I'm going to change it on this last stitch to my fox color. So my last stitch, I'm going to go in and pull up a loop. I'm going to finish that stitch with my fox color. And then again, I'm going to tie these in a double knot. I leave my hook in there so I know how far to pull, how tight to make it. And then I just cut off my extra nubby. I cut off my black. And we're going to do the waterfall stitch in this round as well. And it's the same thing. You're going to do 2 single crochets and then the waterfall stitch. So that's number 1. That's 2 single crochets. And then we follow this stitch and go down 1. Pull up. Finish the stitch. 2 single crochets. Find your stitch. Go down 1 row. 2 single crochets, waterfall, 2 single crochets, waterfall, and because we have 1 more extra stitch than we did the arm, we're just going to put 1 single crochet in there. All done. For the next 9 rows, you still have 13 stitches. For the next 9 rows, I just want you to put 1 single crochet in each of those 13 stitches, and I will see you on the other side. So I am done my 9 rows. So I can't fasten off this because I've already built my leg. So and this is my second leg. Fasten off your first leg. I'm going to put my pattern on the screen. You're going to make your second leg, but don't fasten off. We need you still attached because we need to crochet these 2 together. So I'll put the pattern up now. Go ahead and make your second leg. Do not fasten off. That'll be written in there as well. And I'll see you on the other side. So now that you've got both your legs, we're going to take one, whichever side that your thing's on. Mine's going to be on this side, so my start and stop point is going to be over here. So you can put your feet together like this, you can have them out like that, and it's all up to you what you want to do. I usually just have mine pointed out just a titch, but I think in this case I'm going to just keep them just because I don't want to move my thing. So I'm actually going to go back a stitch to start sewing. I'm going to use probably 4 stitches. I don't know how many stitches I used last time. I didn't write it down. Normally I do because your numbers change drastically. But I'm going to use 4 and see if my numbers work out. If they don't, oh well, it'll still look like a fox. So I've used 4 stitches. I'm just going to kind of come back on myself a little bit here to meet up in the middle where I'm going to make my knot through my loop. I wiggle like that because I feel it tightens it. So I'm just going to stick that guy down in there. I got a lot of stuffing in this one. So that's it. Now we can just crochet these together. So my very first round, I decided I was going to do an increase. Just because I wanted him a little porky. Didn't want him super duper skinny. I wanted him a little bit porky. So the increase I chose to do was a 3 single crochet increase. So PDF users, you'll notice I put 5 times. It all just depends. It's not etched in gold or anything. I just want you to do a 3 single crochet increase till you can't do it anymore. And then whatever extra stitches you have, just put 1 single crochet in them. Now I will generally use a sew spot stitch and then from one leg but not the other leg, and I do the same thing over here. I'll use a sew spot but not on the next leg, just to cut down on the gapping that you may have. So our numbers may or may not be the same, but again, I say this in every single video, it does not matter. As long as it looks like a fox, you're good. So that's number 1. That's 3 single crochets, and then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space, and repeat. So here I'm going to use a sew spot for my first stitch, and then I'll pop across to my next leg. That sew spot is not tight. There we go. So that's my third stitch, and then my increase. So that's what I do. Cuts down on the gapping, even though that's pretty loosey-goosey in there. So I had used both sew spots on both legs, and in here only because I have this loose, I don't know what that is even from, but it's from that right there, but I don't know how to fix it. So that is probably going to get some glue just to stop it from loosening up anymore, because I'm not sure how that even happened. It's never happened to me before, but I'm going to put some glue in there because I've pulled it tight twice now. I don't even know how that happened. So I have 27 stitches. I used both sew spots on both legs, even though I said I don't normally do that. And then I had 2 extra stitches left, so I just put 1 single crochet in each stitch, which gives me 27. So I just wanted to make sure I had the same numbers as I did on my first doll. So your next round is going to be 2 single crochets and an increase. Oh, I just got glue on that. So that's number 1. Oops. That's number 2. And then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. And if you have numbers like me, you're going to have 36 stitches when you're done. So this is what you should have. It should have went in evenly if you have the same numbers that I do. So 36 stitches. For the next 12 rows, I just want you to put 1 single crochet in each of these 36 stitches. And I will see you on the other side. So this is my 12 rows. So I think I'm going to stop chapter 1 here, just because, you know, we've done a lot. And we'll pick this up in chapter 2, where we're going to do a little bit of decreasing, and then we're going to sew our arms on, and then probably complete it, I think. They may be long parts, but long chapters, but hopefully we get this done in a 2-part chapter. The tail might be a little bit long, so I may leave the tail for a chapter 3. So this is what I used for the wire in the tail. It looks like it could be an 8 for thickness, 8 millimeter, I don't know. Anyway, I used wire like this for the tail. If you wanted to do that, you're going to have to get some wire. It's very pliable. So, and it's quite thick. You probably don't even need wire this thick, but I just happen to have it, so I used it. So, get yourself some wire, whatever size. I'm sure you have an idea of what size that you need. And, I may make that for a part 3 for the whole tail and everything, but we'll see. For now, I will see you in chapter 2. Hi guys, welcome back to the next chapter. I think it's chapter 2. I have been gone for a while. I blew my back out a week ago and I haven't been able to do anything, so now I've returned. And I've been doing stuff. I've been designing and stuff like that, but my back is very, very sore. I'm using crutches to get around because my cane doesn't have a bottom suction thingy. Anyway, it's been a struggle. The joys of being old. So, I left you with 12 rows to do. So I've done my 12 rows. And thank God I leave this here so I could remember where I was when I stopped filming the video. I film every single day generally, if I have stuff designed. And so to be gone a week is kind of really messed me up. So let's jump right back into this since you've only been gone for a second. We're going to start decreasing. So our next round is going to be 4 single crochet and a decrease. So that's number 1. That's 4 single crochets. And then I'm going to do my front loop, decrease. So do that all the way around. You should have 30 stitches when you're done. So you should have 30 stitches. Your next round is just going to be 1 single crochet in each of those 30 stitches. And I will see you on the other side. So I think we should start putting some stuffing in it. We're going to be sewing the arms on soon. He wasn't that tall. Make sure in the crook of the legs here you're getting some good stuffing action going on. Unless you want him to bend and sit and, you know. But I stuff mine enough that my boys can just pick it up and carry it around, and I don't know. It all depends, I guess, on who this goes to, what they're using it for. So foxes are nice and slender, so you don't need a whole lot of stuffing. This is a slender little animal. So that's probably all I'm gonna do now. Our next, let's get my computer working here. Our next decrease is going to be 3 single crochets and a decrease, and this brings you down to 24 stitches. That's number 1, 2, and 3. No, I'm not here to teach you to count. Sorry, don't know why I did that. And then your decrease. So repeat this all the way around. You should have 24 stitches, and then the next row I just want you to put 1 single crochet in each of those 24 stitches. So all that will be on my pause screen, and I will see you on the other side. So one more round, then we get our arms sewn on. So this next round is 2 single crochets and a decrease, and this will bring you down to 18 stitches. That's number 1, that's number 2, and then your decrease. So repeat this all the way around, and then we'll sew the arms on when we meet back up. Okie dokie. So, let's get our arms. So it doesn't really matter how they're sewn on, so we won't have to probably be moving our things or anything. Yeah, you probably need to stuff this again, but we'll do it after we sew the arms on, because then we can kind of flatten it like that. Find our middle type deal. So, it seems to be an easy way for me to do it. Now, this is the front of my feet. Unfortunately, my marker stops at the front. I did not do that on purpose, but I don't need to do a color change that's going to be that noticeable. So anyway, I'm going to fold this in half, and this seems to be my middle stitch. And what did I write here? I used 4 stitches to sew on the arm. So now that my arms are sewn on, I'm going to do my next round is just going to be 1 single crochet in each stitch around. I'm going to share my sew space with my stitches. So I had 33 stitches. I'm going to finish filling in here a little bit. Again, he's not fat, so I don't have to put much. I just want to build him, or fill him up a little bit. My arms are crooked, but that's okay. If you don't have 33 stitches, don't worry about it. It just means your numbers don't match with mine, but it's still going to look like a fox when you're done, so don't be too hard on yourself. So we're going to instantly decrease to kind of bring the shoulders up a little bit. So we're going to do a 1 single crochet decrease. That is a 1 single crochet, and I'm still doing my front loop decrease from my invisible decrease. So I'm back around. I have 22 stitches. If you don't have 22 stitches, that's a-okay. For the next 2 rows, I just want you to put 1 single crochet in each of these 22 stitches, and then we're going to change to white. So this is my 2 rows done. I'm on my last stitch. I'm going to change to white. So I'm going to go in and pull up a loop. And then I'm going to add my white. I'm going to finish that stitch with my white. And if you guys all know me well enough, you know I like to tie these 2 together. Leave my hook in there so I know how tight to make it. Tie these 2 together awkwardly, and then just cut them off. That way I don't have to deal with weaving, and I find weaving makes one side thicker than the other side, and I don't like it. So get that out of the way. So with our white, we're going to do a 1 single crochet increase. So we're starting the head. So that's my 1 single crochet, and then my next stitch gets the increase of 2 single crochets in the same space, and repeat. At the end you should have 33 stitches. We can put some more stuffing in here, filling in these shoulders. So I'm just going to fill in my shoulders first, and I don't want to go too overboard because he's not a football player. He's just a sly fox. Anyway, we're going to do another increase for the head, and then we're done as far as how big I want the head to be. The orange part, let me show you. This orange part is made separately, so everything's just going to be white. We're not doing any tapestry crochet or anything. All white. So your next increase is going to be 2 single crochets and an increase, and this will bring you up to 44 stitches. That's number 1 with the marker. That's number 2. And then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. And repeat. Okie dokie, Smokey. That's what you should have. It should look like a collar of a sweater, you know? It's kind of rolled over a little bit. It's big, it's wonky, it's squishy. For the next 7 rows, I want you to put 1 single crochet in each of these 44 stitches. If you don't have 44 stitches, you can add stitches in the next 7 rows somewhere to make 44. Preferably not throughout the whole 7 rows, but first couple of rows, add some stitches till you get 44, or subtract some stitches till you get 44. But this is your opportunity to, you know, match my numbers. If you want to match my numbers. Either way, matching my numbers or not, it's still going to look like a fox at the end of the day. So, for the next 7 rows, 1 single crochet in each of these 44 stitches. And I will see you on the other side. So this is what you should have. So we should have 9 rows. Since we've changed to white, we've done 9 rows altogether. So you count these little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It has to be on this side of the marker. So we need to put our eyes in. And I've got these little 10mm eyes. I did green on my last one, so I'm going to do these blue ones on this guy. They're 10mm. And according to my notes, I put the eyes between the second and third row. So count from this side, because this is our 9th row. Because we just did 7. And then we did two increases, and then 7 rows. So count from this side of the marker. This is 1 and 2. So it's up to you to line it up properly. I generally use the leg to line up my eye. And I said 5 visible stitches in between. So they have to be visible. So that's 5. I'll make sure I'm in the right row. So just follow your finger across to keep the rows, because my stop and start point is basically in the middle of my head for some reason. This is going to look like it's crooked, but it's not, because I've got a half a row over here. So just use your finger to make sure you're in the right rows. And that kind of lines up with my leg as well. And that's how I did my eyes. But you don't need to do what I do. Do whatever. I don't know how full you are as far as filling. I don't know what you've done. So just do whatever you think looks right. Just make sure you're between the second and third row. Because we got to put our schnoz in there and it's got to fit. So please use your backs for your safety eyes. That's why they're safety eyes. So we're going to start decreasing now. You can stuff this at any time. I'm going to stuff mine in a little bit. I'm going to do a few rows first. So this next row is going to be 2 single crochets and a decrease. I'm just decreasing the exact same way I increased. So that's number 1. Oops. Number 2. And then my decreases are still invisible, so they're still in the front loops. So 2 single crochet decrease will bring you back down to 33 stitches. And I will see you on the other side. Your next round is going to be 1 single crochet and a decrease. That's 1 single crochet and then your decrease. So this will bring you down to 22 stitches, and then I just want you to put 1 single crochet in each of those 22 stitches. I will put this all up on my pause screen, and I will see you on the other side. So I'm going to start stuffing mine. So your next round, your last round actually, is going to be 1 single crochet and a decrease. This brings you down to 14 stitches, and then I want you to stuff a little bit more, and then we're going to cinch it closed. So that's 1 single crochet and then a decrease all the way around. So that is it for me. I'm going to fasten off. So you just need a cinching tail. So finish stuffing this however you like it. Just make sure it's fairly full on top so that when you cinch it, I mean, we're putting a thing over it anyway, but you don't want to divot in your head. That, you know, when we cinch it, it doesn't get all wrinkly, even though we're building another piece and we're putting it on the head. So just make sure it's full. Not poking out full, just full. So, to cinch, we're going to go in the front loops. So just the front loops. We're going to go in, and then we're going to go out, like that, all the way around. Should have 14 stitches. And this is my 14. I just count by twos. Give her a nice pull. So you're going to want to pop across. Make a knot, so go through your loop. And give it a wiggle. I like to do it in the other direction as well. Pop across. Go through your loop. Give it a wiggle. There. I might have pulled too tight on that eye when I put the back on. But that's your head and your neck. Neck's big. I purposely did that. Because fox, he's slender, but he doesn't have... I mean, he's an animal, right? So he has a neck. I'm not saying he doesn't have a neck, but it's very hairy, so it's kind of all one piece. It's not like you can see a defined neck, but you can sort of, kind of. So that's why I didn't really go too super skinny on his neck. So that's what we have so far. Let's do the snout first. What? Oh, I just lost a piece. Let's do the snout first because the red part that we make, the piece goes over his snout, so we'll make the snout next. Chapter 3 will be the tail because it's so big. So we're just kind of sticking with our white. Let's move this guy out of the way. Sticking with our white and our 4mm. You're going to make a magic ring of 6 single crochets. We want the nose pointy, so we're not going to do our regular 2 single crochets in each stitch around. We're going to do 1 single crochet and an increase. So that's 1 single crochet. And then the next stitch gets the increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. So when we do something like this, it's because we want a little bit of a point. 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets. You should do it 3 times because we only did Oh, magic ring of 6 single crochets. So this kind of splits it in half. So you do everything 3 times. So pull your middle closed as best you can. The nose that I did is just yarn. That's what I did. I just sewed a nose on, so we don't have to worry about using the middle for a nose piece or anything. So your next round, I just, because I want to keep it pointy, the next round I just did 1 single crochet in each stitch. Now I've pulled my middle closed as tight as I can, and I'm just going to try to weave in that piece at the back. You don't have to do that. I know how awkward it can be. So I'm just going to do 1 single crochet in each of these 9 stitches. So turn it right side in. Your next round is going to be 2 single crochets and an increase. That's number 1. That's 2 single crochets, and then your next stitch gets the increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. And repeat. So you're going to do this 3 times as well. Next round is going to be 3 single crochets and an increase, and this will bring you up to 15 stitches. That's number 1. That's 3 single crochets, so your next stitch gets the increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. You're going to do this 3 times as well. Your next round is going to be 4 single crochets and an increase. This will bring you up to 18 stitches. That's my arm on the table. Every single time I put in that first, it's my arm. I promise. That's 4 single crochets. And then my increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. Your next round, your last round, is going to be 5 single crochets and an increase, bringing you up to 21 stitches. That is 5 single crochets, and then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. Alrighty, we can fasten off. But I need a sewing tail. And yes, I am aware because of the increases that it's off. You're not going to notice it when it's sewed to the face. So I stuffed mine. So you can put yours basically down on the bottom. We're not putting the mouth down here at all, but put it as close to the eyes as you can. And then our orange piece here comes down and on like that. So right now it looks nothing like this, but we will make it look like that. Never fear. So let's get this bad boy sewn on. I'm going to start with a little bit of stuffing on the inside. So that's my nose. It looks really funny right now. But when we put the black on, it really changes what the nose looks like. So I'm going to go back up into my nose, and I'm just going to weave through here in and out. So we need a little bit of black for our nose. So I don't know, it's your guess. So I use the center hole, and then wherever I can stick it in up here. So it doesn't really matter where you come in, it just matters where you pop out. So I'm just going to pop out the center hole. Do not pull this all the way through. So I just went down. And I mean, I came across. I didn't, but everything comes out of the center hole. And then I just kept moving. So, and then I moved over a little bit, came out the center hole. And that's what I just kept moving. And I just went back and forth until I was satisfied with what I had. Sometimes you have to use your fingers to guide it. So once I have it, I just give it a little bit of a turn up. Let me get this out of the way. So do you see how I just kind of turned it up a little bit? It kind of helps that the nose is there. So then this red will come right down to his nose. Like that. And I did the same with this guy. I turned his nose once I had it all sewn. Just kind of pushed it up. And it stays. It'll stay too after we put this orange on. So they'll have a kind of a little turn up nose like that. He is so super cute. So, you can just finish him off by just kind of going down a hole. Popping out wherever. He's getting cuter, guys. Cuter, cuter. Alright, let's do the orange part of the head. And then we'll get the ears done, and then that'll be the end of chapter 2. I know it's already kind of been long. But There's a lot to making him adorable. So you're going to need your pumpkin. Well, I'm using pumpkin. Whatever color you're using for your fox, get that. And then we can make the red part of the head. It's fairly quick and easy. I'm going to start with a magic ring of 6 single crochets. Alright, the camera shut off, so I'm just going to start again. Do a magic ring of 6 single crochets. So your first round is going to be 2 single crochets in each stitch around, giving you 12 stitches. Again, after the first stitch, that's where your marker goes. And then stitch number 2 goes in there. That's my 12. Your next round is going to be 1 single crochet and an increase. That's 1 single crochet with your marker, and then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space, and repeat. Your next round is going to be 2 single crochets and an increase, and this will bring you up to 24 stitches. Excuse me. That's 2 single crochets, and then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space, and repeat. Your next round is going to be 3 single crochets and an increase. This will bring it up to 30 stitches. That's number 1. That's 3 single crochets. And then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. And repeat. Next round is going to be 4 single crochets and an increase, bringing you up to 36 stitches. That's number 1. That's 4 single crochets, and then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. And repeat. Your next round is going to be 5 single crochets and an increase, and this will bring it up to 42 stitches. That's number 1. That's 5 single crochets, and then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. And repeat. Your last round, well, not last round, last increase round is going to be 6 single crochets and an increase. Excuse me, I had to sneeze. And this will bring you up to 48 stitches. It's number 1 with your marker. That is 6 single crochets, So your next stitch will get the increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. And repeat. So this is what you should have at this point. For the next 5 rows, I want you to put 1 single crochet in each of these 48 stitches, and I will see you on the other side. So this is what you should have. We're going to fasten off and then we're going to reattach to do the nose piece. It just looked better by doing that. So when you fasten off this part, I need you to do a sewing tail, which is another reason we're reattaching to the nose piece, so we can have our sewing tail. Get rid of this thing. So make a slip knot. Reattach. I'm going to do mine opposite where I just fastened off. So reattach with anything that you want. We're putting another stitch in there anyway, so you can pull that down. Starting in the same space you just reattached in, I want you to do 6 single crochets. So that's number 1. Same spot, I just reattached. That's 6 single crochets. I want you to chain 1 and turn your work. And then I want you to do 6 single crochets. So pull this back, make sure you're getting into this first stitch right here. Chain 1, turn your work. So, get my computer to work. You're going to do 2 single crochets. So again, pull back, making sure you're getting into this first space. And then you're going to do SC2 tog. That's how you're going to see it written, and that's just a decrease. Means single crochet 2 together. And then you're going to do your last 2 single crochets. Chain 1, turn your work. For this round you're going to do 1 single crochet, and then you're going to do SC2 tog, single crochet 2 together, decrease, and then 2 single crochets. Chain 1, turn your work. And now you have 4 stitches. I just want you to put 4 stitches in here. Chain 1, turn your work. And now we're gonna do 1 single crochet, SC2 tog, so decrease these middle 2, and then 1 single crochet. Chain 1, turn your work, and you have 3 stitches left. We're going to SC3 tog, which means we're going to single crochet 3 together. So pull up a loop, pull up a loop, 3rd stitch, pull up a loop. You should have 4 on, so yarn over and pull through all 4. And then you can fasten off. So the only thing you need to do here is weave. So you just need enough to weave. So when we weave, we're going to go down this way just to make this look better, because it's kind of leaning to this side, so underneath, of course. Get in there. I like to go through my yarn. So what, because it was kind of leaning that way anyway, that leaves a nice sort of kind of, you see it, a little point on the end. So this is all going to be sewn to the head, so weaving isn't a huge big deal. So, get everything out of the way. Oh yeah, I forgot I gotta weave this in. This is where I reattached. So I'm just going to go down and right across. I think that's the best means, since I can kind of pull that corner in by doing that. There, now I'm ready. So I stuffed my head a little bit differently than I stuffed my last head, so this may be a little big. Not bad. It's a little big, just because I stuffed my head differently. So, and it should come down like that. So we just got to sew it on. I'm not going to be too overly upset that I didn't get this exactly right. Had I stuffed my white part a little bit bigger, it wouldn't look so bad, but I can always put stuffing in here too. I may or may not, I don't know, haven't decided. So I'm just gonna sew this puppy on. So, it's my guy. His head is a little big because I didn't stuff this white part like I should have. So, but I stretched this out to kind of pull his nose up a bit more as well. So, he's super cute, but I still think this eye is really tight. And I got no way of fixing it. Other than that, I hope your project's going okay. So, let's do the ears, and then this is the end of the chapter. It's been such a long chapter, and then the next chapter will be the tail, where we're going to be using, if you want to, the wire in the tail, so that you can, you know, do this, shape it, move it, do whatever you want with it. So, that's the plan, Stan. So, let's move on to ears. So this is the little ear that we're doing, so we need to start with black. This is super duper quick. I'm going to make the ear with you. Then I'm going to put the pattern up for you to make your second ear, and I'm going to leave you to just sew it on. And then I'll meet you back in the next chapter. So anyway, grab your black. Let's get this built so we can end this chapter. It's been super duper long. We'll start with a magic ring of 4 single crochets. I have pointy ears, so we're going to start small. I'm not going to pull mine completely tight yet because I struggle with black, so I'm not going to pull it completely tight. I'm going to do 1 single crochet increase, and you're going to do that 2 times because you only have 4 stitches. So that's 1 single crochet. I'll find my marker. And then your next stitch gets the increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. I have a problem with black and I have a problem with small. As you could probably tell by my channel, I don't really make anything small. I got old lady eyes. There. So I'm going to pull my middle now closed, and then I'm going to kind of flip it over a little bit. It's easier if you wiggle it. So now that I'm flipped over, you can kind of see that point. I'm going to cut my straggler off just a little bit so it's not super duper annoying, because it will be. It already is. Okie dokie. So you're going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch around, and then we're going to change to the pumpkin. We got a lot going on. So you should have 6 stitches. So you're just going to do 6 stitches. On your last stitch, change to your fox color. This is my last stitch, so I'm going to pull up a loop. And I'm going to finish that last stitch with my fox color. I'm going to tie my fox straggler to my black. I'm leaving my hook in there just so I know how tight to make it. And then the black and the straggler can get cut off. And there we go. So now I still got this gobbly stuff. I'll try to work around it. So now that we've got pumpkin going on, we can do 2 single crochets and an increase. And I knew that was gonna happen. See, if you don't squish this crap down in there, it will just pop out and get in your way. So I'm just packing all those stragglers down inside my pointed ear. So that's number 1. That's number 2. And then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. You do that 1 more time. Everything we do, we're going to do twice. And your increase. Getting a little easier. You should have 8 stitches. Your next round is going to be 3 single crochets and an increase. It's number 1. That's 3 single crochets. And then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. 1 more time. Your next round is going to be 4 single crochets and an increase, and this will leave you 12 stitches. That's number 1. That's 4 single crochets, and then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. 1 more time. Next round is going to be 5 single crochets and an increase. This will bring it up to 14 stitches. If I can get it in there. I got in there, it kept coming out. You're going to do this twice. That's my 5 single crochets. And then my next stitch gets the increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. One more time. Your next round is going to be 6 single crochets and an increase. This brings you up to 16 stitches. So because we only do it twice, we're only increasing each row by 2. That's 6 single crochets and then your increase. And one more time. That's 6, and then I finish with my increase. Next round is going to be 7 single crochet increase, and this will bring you to 18 stitches. That's number 1. That's my increase. One more time. And my increase. Your final increase round is going to be 8 single crochet increase, and this brings you up to 20 stitches. That's 8 single crochets, and then my increase is 2 single crochets in the same space. One more time. Your last round is just going to be 1 single crochet in each of these 20 stitches, and you can fasten off with a sewing tail. So that's it. My camera was like, nope, it's it right now, and shut off. So I'm going to show you how to fold in the ears a little bit. So that's the end of my, it's like a half a roll. When I spin them into cakes, I can spin 1 7-ounce ball into like 1 cake in a little bit. So this is the little bit part of it. So this has only been a half of a roll of half a skein of 7-ounce skein that I've used so far to make this fox, in case you're wondering. So I know it's still wonky here, but don't worry about that, because we're doing some stuff. So I'll show you that, and then I'll leave you to sew the ears on, and this will be the end of the chapter. I swear, for real this time. I'll put my pattern up for my ears after we're done here. So fold this till this is on the side, and then just do a whip stitch. don't go all the way across yet. So, show you my ears. So I made a little fold in my ears to make it look like fox ears. But each ear is done differently. There's no stuffing in these, by the way. So I've gone this far. I've got a finger hole left. And I'm just going to fold it over. And then I'm going to continue my whip stitch. But I'm going to make sure I grab all of this area and finish what I'm doing. So it's just enough of a fold to make a difference. And that goes on the outside, facing away from the head when we sew it on. The other one is done a little bit differently. So because this one faces this way, we need this to face the other way. Get this out of the way. So if it's sitting on the head, we need the fold here. So what we have to do is make sure this guy is in the middle. And then we do the fold right away. That's the difference between the ears. So make sure this guy's in the middle, and it's going to be sitting on the head like this. So this part folds in. And then I'm just going to start from the end. Ouch, I stabbed myself. So I'm just kind of coming back on myself. This side's a little more awkward, but it ends up looking the same. And then you just finish your whip stitch across this way. And then you've got both ears that have the little turned in mark. And they're going to get sewn on the head with the turned in part on this side. So they're going to get sewn. Just like that. So I'm going to leave you to make your second ear. And you'll probably have to rewind the video to see how I did the second ear as far as folding it. And I will see you in the next chapter for the tail. Hi guys, welcome back to chapter 3. So I got my ears on. I forgot we had to do the belly hair still, so we'll do that first before the tail, because this chapter was just supposed to be for the tail, but I forgot about his belly hair. So let's grab some white. We're going to start this off with a chain 7. You're going to do 6 single crochets back up to the beginning. chain 1, turn your work. You're going to do 2 single crochets, and then in this next stitch you're going to put 2 single crochets in the same space, and then you're going to do 3 single crochets to the end, and then this weird turning over stitch is your last stitch. Chain 1, turn your work. You're going to do 3 single crochets. So all the increasing I'm doing is in the middle, by the way. So that's 3 single crochets, and then this next stitch gets the increase, which is 2 single crochets in the same space, and then 3 single crochets to the end. Chain 1, turn your work. So we're going to do 4 single crochets, and then this next stitch gets the increase of 2 single crochets in the same space, and then 3 single crochets to the end. Chain 1, turn your work. At this point, we're not going anymore. You should have 9 single crochets. For the next 7 rows, you're going to put 1 single crochet in each stitch. So this is my 7 rows all done. So we're going to start decreasing this next round. And I want you to do, I'm going to decrease in the middle, same as I increased. So I want you to do 4 single crochets. And now you're going to see this written as SC2 tog, single crochet 2 together. And that's basically just a decrease. So go in, pull up a loop, go into your next stitch, pull up a loop, pull through all 3. And then you have 3 single crochets left. Chain 1, turn your work. Now you're going to do 3 single crochets. Now you're going to SC2 tog, and then 3 single crochets. Chain 1, turn your work. 2 single crochets, SC2 tog, 3 single crochets, chain 1, turn your work. So here's going to be a little bit different. We're going to SC2 tog the first 2. And this is only because I need a certain shape at this point. You're going to put 2 single crochets, and then SC2 tog to the last 2. Just like a regular decrease would normally be. Chain 1, turn your work. And now you have 4 stitches left. I just want you to SC2 tog both of those. So decrease, decrease, fasten off. And we can sew it to the belly. So it doesn't quite end in a point, it just ends in a, you get 2 stitches left. This is going to be at the bottom part of the belly. This is going to be up at his neck. So, find my needle. So this part's at the neck. This part we fastened off is at the bottom. And when I say at the neck, I mean literally right up. So this is supposed to look like this is all one piece. So I would definitely make sure you stick pins in up here to hold it. The rest of it's not super duper important, but definitely, because it's supposed to look like that comes right off his face. I got a piece of orange sticking out. So that's my hairy chest. So, fuzzy belly. All done. We can move on to the tail, and that's going to be it. Okay, so you're going to need some wire. Now this stuff you can cut with, like, it's pretty good wire. It's nice and thick, and it's easily pliable without being stiff, and it's not too thin that it will stay even if there's weight on it. So, but you can cut it. I'll show you. I'm just going to cut a little piece off because I don't need a piece. But if you take some great big scissors and you just kind of clamp it a little bit, you can cut a piece off like that. You just twist it back and forth and you can cut it. So you don't need any special tools. You don't need wire cutters or anything. So the only thing I do want to do is, because these two ends after you snip it can be quite sharp. You don't want anything poking through your project. So you can do one of two things. You can put yarn on the end or tape. So I've just got some Gorilla Tape here. And this is never going to be, like, it's not going to be seen by anybody, so so this is two-sided, and I'm just using the one side. So I just fold it down like that, and then I've got this piece that I can just kind of fold over since I've cut it. Like that. So this isn't really going anywhere. It's just going to stay wrapped around my piece just so there's no sharpie points. And it's Gorilla Tape, so I know it's not coming undone. So we don't need this right away. We can start our tail first. And then start using it. So, a mess. My white, I'm gonna maybe need more white, I'm not sure. So, let's start building this first, and then we stick the wire in later. We don't have to worry about it right now. So start with white, because the end of a foxtail is white. You do a magic ring of 6 single crochets. You're Your next round is going to be 2 single crochets in each stitch. That's number 1. And then you put your second stitch in. So the marker always goes on number 1. 2 single crochets each stitch around. So you should have 12 stitches when you're done. So next round is just going to be 1 single crochet in each of those 12 stitches. Your next round is going to be 1 single crochet and an increase. This will bring it up to 18 stitches. That's 1 single crochet. And then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. And repeat. 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets. Your next round is going to be 1 single crochet in each of these 18 stitches. Your next round is going to be 2 single crochets and an increase, and this will bring you up to 24 stitches. That's number 1. That's number 2, and then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space, and repeat. So you should have 24 stitches. So for the next 5 rows, you're just going to put 1 single crochet in each of these 24 stitches. And then we're going to change to pumpkin. So I will see you on the other side. So that's my 5 rows. I'm on my last stitch. I have to go to pumpkin. I had like this much white left. And the white was only like a half a skein. Actually, it wasn't even a half a skein. It was less than that. Oh, I don't know why I just took my marker out. Anyway, that's my marker spot. This is the last stitch. I'm going to switch to my pumpkin. So, this is my marker spot. We'll start there. We're just going to do with their new color, 1 single crochet in each stitch around, and then we're going to do that waterfall stitch again, which is going to give that effect for the tail. So, if you don't want to do that effect for the tail, then just do 2 rounds of 1 single crochet in each stitch. If you want to do that effect, then follow me. We're doing 1 round of 1 single crochet, and then our next round will be the waterfall stitch. So you should still have 24 stitches. Oh, now my Now my pumpkin's gonna act up. I hate coming to the end of a roll or a cake. Alright, I had to switch my card. So I'm just going to start where I left off, kind of. So I'm just going to put my stitch marker in. So this round we're going to be doing the waterfall stitches. So that's number 1. That's number 2. And then you're going to come down to the second row, pull up, finish the stitch, and then make sure you got to kind of push this back. Make sure you're getting into this stitch. One of these stitches you've covered. Oh, so that's the one I've covered. So I gotta make sure I pop over. You just gotta make sure the one that you're covering, because you don't want to add stitches. So do 2 more and then do another waterfall stitch. This time we're gonna come down to the 3rd row. If you want to, you don't have to do what I'm doing. And just keep going down to row number 2. So again, this stitch takes place of this stitch. So you gotta make sure you go into the next stitch. So I'm just gonna count 2, 4, 6, 8, just to make sure that everything's going into where it should be. So that's 24, and I ended with a 3rd row waterfall. So you need to make sure you're staying with 24 stitches. And it's not easy because I've just done this 3 times. So it's not easy. You keep covering the stitch so you're not sure which one to go into after. But the effect is really, really cool, especially once it's stuffed, because that's what foxes look like, right? Like something's bleeding into them. But anyway, so let's move on. You're going to do 2 single crochet decrease. So 2 single crochet decrease. That's my 2 single crochet, and then my decrease. So this next round, or next 2 rounds, you're just going to do 1 single crochet in each of these stitches, and I will see you on the other side. So your next round is going to be, you can start stuffing this at any time. Let's do that. Let's start stuffing this. Because pretty soon we're going to get to the part where we need to put in some, the wire part. And then we start working around the wire. But we don't need it in this tail part, so I did not put a whole lot of stuffing in my tail because I didn't really want the weight, and I wanted it kind of not that big, so didn't put a whole lot in. So next round is going to be 3 single crochets and a decrease. That's 3 single crochets and then your decrease. So that's about as far as I can go with my sequence. I'm at 12, so I'm going to have 15 for this row. I have 3 stitches left. I'm just going to put 1 single crochet in each of those. And for the next 12 rows, I'm just going to do 1 single crochet in each. Actually, I might do more than 12 rows. Let's go 12 rows and then see what you think, and then we may add more. So 15 stitches for the next 12 rows. You're just going to put 1 single crochet in each of them. This is where you can add your wire at any time. I'm going to wait till I build up a little bit of a shaft, and then I'll just stick my wire down. So, I just count to 60. I don't move my marker. I just counted to 60, which is 4 rows, and then I marked 4 rows on my counter. This is where I'm going to stick in my wire, and then I'm just going to work around my wire. And it's not as awkward as you think it is. And then I just stuff my stuffing around it. So I'm just going to put it in there and then stuff my stuffing around it. I don't know if you've ever worked with wire or not, but it's actually, it's not that bad. You don't have to be super duper in the middle with your wire. It doesn't really matter. And then you just stuff it normally. I just think it's, you know, it's a fox. And I don't know, I just decided that wire was what I needed to be doing with this tail. So we're going to do 12 rows for now, unless you need it a little bit longer, and then we're going to decrease, and then we're going to do like another few rows. So for now, just keep sticking with your, like I said, I don't use my marker, I just count to 60, and then I count 4 rows on my marker. So that'll make your life a lot easier, because I've already done 5 and it's only been 3 minutes. So I initially had made this tail really long, and I had put the wire all the way up to the butt. Now this tail I'm doing for the video is going to be different because that's too long. That's way too long of a tail. So I am changing the pattern as I go. So right now we're at 12. So if you put it there, pretend you're sewing it on, put it there. That's his tail, and you can still, you know, it's going to look a lot better, shorter. So I think this is the time we need to just start decreasing. But again, it's completely up to you because it's your tail. But I just think that it's time to start decreasing. So I'm going to put my stitch marker up here where it's supposed to be. I'm not putting a whole lot of stuffing in this either because, I mean, obviously I have wire, so I don't want to make it too puffy. So I'm not stuffing it, probably not quite like I should. So you also don't want to fill the wire. So I mean, it's tricky. If you're not used to it, it can be tricky trying to figure out how much stuffing to put in there. But again, it's just a tail. You can't really screw the tail up. I guess you could, but anyway. I also don't want to see the stuffing through. So far that's our tail. So we're going to start decreasing because we're not going to make this guy super duper long. So let's do a 2 single crochet decrease. That's number 1 with my marker. That's number 2, and then your decrease. I'm still doing invisible all the way around. That's as far as I can go. I have 3 stitches left. I'm going to put 1 single crochet in that, and now we have 12 stitches. So we didn't decrease a whole lot that's going to be noticeable, only 3 stitches. So I'm going to say for the next 6 rows, let's put 1 single crochet in each of these 12 stitches, and I will see you on the other side. So that's my 6 rows. That's as long as I think I want my tail, but if you want yours longer, so even if it didn't have a wire in it and you decided not to use the wire, you know, it's because foxes do have really long tails. Standing, it's still on the ground, and then of course if you want to, you know, if you're using wire like me, you can obviously bend it in all these different ways. My wire's only shoved down to about here, so I am going to cut off what I don't use. My other one I just bent. Actually, maybe I'll try to do that. I bent my other one down, but I think I've got too much wire to do that. The other one I only had a little bit of wire left, so I just kind of bent it over, but this one I have a lot. I'm going to bend it over anyway because I don't want it to be sharp. I may actually steal this tape. So take off your excess. Oh, and I just dropped it, so I'm not going to be using that tape. And then I would just bend down whatever's left, stick it down into that stuffing. If I can hold it still long enough. So I just bent it like that, and then I'll just poke it down. So I sewed mine on open when I sewed it on, so you can just fasten off. I'm going to finish filling mine. So you're going to just need a little sewing tail for this part. I used a mattress stitch just so it was nice and strong, and I went around a couple of times, so that's what we're going to do. If you wanted to, again, you don't need to do everything I'm telling you to do. Some people watch my videos and they think that they have to do what I'm saying, but you don't have to. If you don't want to do something, you don't certainly have to. That's the freedom of choice, right? You can do whatever the heck you want to do since it's your little project. So I don't want to put too much stuffing in there, but enough. I feel my end of my wire is right there. So it's not all the way down, but again, do whatever you want. The only reason I didn't go all the way down is because I don't really need to bend this part. I just need to bend this part, so that's enough stuffing for me. So I think I'm gonna like him a lot shorter. So if you already know how to do a mattress stitch, then knock your socks off. If you don't, it's going to be hard to show you. So figure out where you want his tail. So I'm going to grab a couple of pieces of his bum. I'm going to bring you in with editing, but I'll also zoom in. I don't have a big zoom on my camera, but I'm going to grab a little bit of his bum. And then I'm going to grab a little bit just above the stitches you would normally sew with. I'm going to grab a couple of pieces of those. And then I'm going to, so I could just lay this down because I don't need to pull these tight yet. And that's it. That's what makes this such an easy stitch. I don't have to pull it yet. grab 2 more pieces. Now keep in mind, when I do pull it, it's going to pull this tail down to here. So wherever you want your tail to be, that's where you need to be grabbing the 2 pieces on the bottom. Actually, I'm going to move mine up because I'm going to come around a couple of times. So let me just take this out and show you all over again. I don't want to mess you up if you've never done it, but I'm going to come around twice because it's a way better hold. And I do that with just about anything that I sew. I will go around twice, but a mattress stitch for sure go around twice. It is such a super duper hold and it looks really good. So I'm going to come up just a little bit higher when I start, because when I come back around to do the second row I will be lower. So this is the crotch. I'm about the 3rd row up from the crotch. So I'm going to grab my 2 pieces there. So when I come around to do the second row, I'm going to actually slip down to this row below where I'm working right now to pull it in even tighter. So 2 from the butt, 2 from the tail. Then like I said, you don't need to pull right now. You can do that after. So going around in a circle is a little tricky, but there's still 2 pieces of something I'm sure you can grab. I always make it work. But again, for newbies, for people that don't normally watch me, I am not a sewer. I just do the best I can because I make dolls for a living. So after you've got all your little shoelaces, you can pull all of them and it'll pull your tail down and you can't even tell that it just got sewed. That's what I love about the mattress stitch. So, and it's easy, you don't have to try to hold it in place. So I'm just going to continue around the corner here, grabbing pieces. So right now I'm close to my project, like my tail. Uh-oh, what did I do? How did that happen? Right now I'm close to my tail. When I do the second row, I'm going to be a row out from my tail, doing the exact same thing, and it will pull it in nice and tight. So, just continue if you're doing what I'm doing. So, I've done my other set of shoelaces, and I'm just going to tighten them all. So I'm just about back around to where I started. So I'm gonna go around a second time, but this time I'm going to be a row below. So this is the row that I did, and now I'm gonna come way down here and grab these pieces and do the exact same thing, and I'm going to do it all the way around. So when I come up here, I'm going to be grabbing the row above, and then you'll really be able to understand how this will pull this down and what kind of hold you're getting. I mean, you could probably already tell what kind of hold you're getting. You're getting a pretty good hold. And yeah, I forgot to mention, if you come up higher too on your tail, that's going to make a difference. as well. So you go higher on the tail and out further on the body. And then your hold is going to be supreme compared to a normal, like a normal stitch that you would be doing. So I'm at the top. I'm going to come way up here. Well, not way, it's just the next row up. So I'm kind of all the way back around. So I'm just going to pull. You have to pull pretty hard to get it all in there. Sucks everything in. Just make sure you don't have any loose pieces. I do. I still got loose pieces. See? Oh, still loose underneath there. So I'm just going to keep pulling until everything's nice and tight. If you have acrylic yarn, it should not break. And then I'm going to go down and weave. In and out, back and forth, 3 different directions. I don't really follow that rule. I'll just weave as many times as I feel comfortable. So, but if you're looking for a rule, that's generally it. 3 different directions. I just keep going, do what I do. I got all this yarn, I might as well. There we go. So his tail just straight down. Let me back right out of here. His tail. Mine looks funny because it's got the wire in it. But now I can bend it. And, you know, it looks a lot better than my other tail. When I bend it, I can bend it up. So that is just got her tail to that. But, I mean, kids are going to be able to have fun with this, I think. And it still kind of comes around to his front and doesn't look quite as bad as the other one. So, the other one was really long. Really super long. That is it. I'm going to bring it around. This tail is a lot shorter and a lot better. So, comparing them. So I still got this great big hump back here. So making the tail a lot shorter was a lot better. But I hope you like this guy. I really do. Super cute. I wanted to do a fox for a very long time, and I finally got one done. So thanks for joining me, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Oh, and members, your PDF will be posted. PDFs are generally posted the day before the video drops. So if you do want it sooner, just let me know. Give me a shout out on my Facebook page or even on YouTube on a video. I get all my comments. Well, generally, they're good at letting me know all my comments. And just let me know if you want any video PDF earlier than I normally would put it up. And I'll get that done for you guys. I'll see you in the next video.